Certainly. I'll begin writing part 1 of Alien Academia, The Unforeseen Impact of a Human Girl's Arrival. Part 1. An Unexpected Student. The crystalline spires of Zillera Academy pierced the violet sky of Nexus Prime, their iridescent surfaces reflecting the light of 3 suns. For millennia, this institution had stood as the pinnacle of galactic education, its halls filled with the brightest minds from 1,000 worlds. But today, something unprecedented was about to occur. Amelia Chen stood at the base of the grand entrance, her heart pounding in her chest. The 19-year-old human girl from Earth felt like an ant beneath the towering alien architecture. She clutched her application tablet tightly, the device's sleek design a stark contrast to her trembling hands. "Come on, Amelia," she whispered to herself. "You've made it this far. Don't chicken out now." With a deep breath, she stepped onto the hover platform. It hummed to life, sensing her presence, and began its ascent towards the main reception area. As she rose, Amelia couldn't help but marvel at the alien students and faculty members flowing in and out of the building. Tentacled cephalons glided gracefully alongside insectoid arthrosions, while ethereal luminians pulsed with inner light. The diversity was breathtaking, yet Amelia couldn't shake the feeling of being utterly alone. She was, after all, the first human to ever set foot in Zillera Academy. As the platform docked at the reception level, a holographic greeter materialized before her. Its form shifted continuously, cycling through various alien physiologies in a dizzying display. "Welcome to Zillera Academy," it intoned in a melodious voice that seemed to bypass her ears and resonate directly in her mind. "Please state your name and purpose." "Amelia Chen," she replied, her voice surprisingly steady. "I'm the new exchange student from Earth." The hologram froze for a moment, its ever-changing form settling into a vaguely humanoid shape. "Error. No record of planet Earth in database. Please restate your origin." Amelia's heart sank. Of course, they wouldn't have Earth in their systems. Her homeworld was but a speck in the vast galactic community, only recently discovered by the Galactic Council. "I'm sorry," she said, fumbling with her tablet. "Earth is a newly contacted world. I have my admission documents here, approved by Dean Zox Kulian himself." The hologram's eyes, now a swirling vortex of colors, scanned the tablet. After what felt like an eternity, it spoke again. "Verification complete. Welcome, Amelia Chen of Earth. Please proceed to the orientation chamber." Relief washed over Amelia as she stepped off the platform. She had passed the first hurdle, but she knew many more lay ahead. The orientation chamber was a vast circular room with a domed ceiling that seemed to display the entire galaxy in motion. Hundreds of alien students milled about, their excited chatter creating a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and subsonic rumbles that Amelia's universal translator struggled to keep up with. As she made her way through the crowd, Amelia couldn't help but notice the stares and whispers that followed her. Some aliens recoiled at her appearance, while others leaned in closer, fascinated by her exotic features. "Is that some kind of new synthetic life form?" she heard one student ask. "No, I think it's organic. Look at the inefficient bipedal locomotion," another replied. Amelia felt her cheeks burn with embarrassment. She knew she would be a curiosity, but she hadn't expected to feel like a lab specimen on display. Suddenly, a tall, willowy figure appeared before her. Dean Zox Kulian, the head of Zillera Academy, towered over Amelia. His silver skin shimmered with bioluminescent patterns, and his 4 eyes blinked in asynchronous patterns. "Ah, Ms. Chen," he said, his voice a soothing melody. "We are most pleased that you have arrived safely. Your presence here marks a historic moment for both Zillera Academy and your species." Amelia bowed slightly, remembering the cultural briefing she had received. "Thank you, Dean Zox Kulian. I'm honored to be here and hope to represent Earth to the best of my abilities." The dean's mouthparts twitched in what Amelia hoped was a smile. "Your modesty is admirable, but unnecessary. You were chosen for your exceptional intellect and potential." We expect great things from you. As the dean's words sank in, Amelia felt the weight of expectation settle on her shoulders. She wasn't just here for herself. She was here for all of humanity. The orientation proceeded with holographic displays showcasing the Academy's various departments and research facilities. Amelia marveled at the advanced technology and the breadth of subjects offered: quantum astrogation, psychic engineering, multidimensional biology. Each field of study sounded more fantastical than the last. As the presentation concluded, students began to disperse towards their assigned living quarters. Amelia consulted her tablet, trying to decipher the complex map of the Academy. "You look lost, soft skin," a gravelly voice said from behind her. Amelia turned to find herself face to face with a creature that resembled a cross between a praying mantis and a rock formation. Its crystalline exoskeleton glinted in the artificial light, and its compound eyes studied her with unnerving intensity. "I'm Crix," the alien continued. "Arthrosian, third cycle student of phenobiology. You're the Earth creature, yes?" Amelia nodded, relieved to have someone address her directly. "Yes, I'm Amelia. It's nice to meet you, Crix." Crix's mandibles clicked rapidly. "Fascinating. I've never encountered a mammalian sentient before. Your thermal regulation must be incredibly inefficient." Before Amelia could respond, another voice cut through the air. "Step away from that primitive, Crix. You don't know where it's been." A group of aliens approached, led by a tall, serpentine creature with iridescent scales and multiple limbs. Its eyes, black as the void of space, fixed on Amelia with unconcealed disdain. "Professor Vex," Crix said, his posture becoming submissive. "I was merely greeting our new classmate." Professor Vex slithered closer, towering over Amelia. "So, this is the human specimen that the dean has saddled us with. Tell me, creature, do you truly believe you can keep up with the intellectual rigors of Zillera Academy?" Amelia felt a surge of anger cut through her nervousness. She straightened her back and met the professor's gaze. "With all due respect, Professor, I wouldn't be here if I couldn't. I look forward to proving myself in your class." A ripple of surprise passed through the gathered aliens. Professor Vex's scales rippled, changing color rapidly. Bold words: "Human. We shall see if your species' vaunted adaptability is more than just empty boasting." As the professor and his entourage glided away, Amelia let out a shaky breath. She had stood her ground, but she knew she had just made a powerful adversary. Crix's crystalline form shimmered, a gesture Amelia's translator indicated was akin to a laugh. "Well, soft skin, you've certainly made an impression. Come, I'll show you to your quarters. Something tells me your stay at Zillera Academy is going to be very interesting indeed." As Amelia followed her new acquaintance through the twisting corridors of the Academy, she couldn't shake the feeling that she had just taken her first step into a much larger universe. The challenges ahead were daunting, but for the first time since arriving, Amelia felt a spark of excitement. She was here, at the forefront of galactic academia, representing not just herself but all of humanity. And no matter what obstacles lay ahead, she was determined to show the universe exactly what humans were capable of. The first week at Zillera Academy passed in a blur of sensory overload for Amelia. Each day brought new wonders and challenges that tested the limits of her human adaptability. In her quantum astrogation class, Amelia found herself struggling with the multidimensional calculations required for plotting courses through folded spacetime. The holographic displays that her classmates manipulated with ease seemed to flicker and distort before her eyes, leaving her disoriented and frustrated. "Having trouble, soft skin?" Crix chittered, his crystalline form refracting the light from the holograms. Amelia sighed, rubbing her temples. "Is it that obvious? I feel like I'm trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded." Crix's compound eyes blinked in confusion. "I don't understand that reference, but I sense your frustration. Perhaps a different perspective would help?" With a series of clicks and whirs, Crix's exoskeleton reconfigured itself, sprouting additional limbs. He reached out, manipulating the hologram with multiple appendages simultaneously. See? The key is to visualize all potential timelines concurrently. Your binary thinking limits you. Amelia watched in awe as the holographic star map transformed under Crix's ministrations. Suddenly, the patterns began to make sense. That's incredible. How did you do that? Arthrosian minds are naturally attuned to multidimensional thinking, Crix explained. But don't despair. I've observed that humans have their own unique cognitive strengths. Perhaps we could engage in a cultural exchange. Your species' history fascinates me. As the days progressed, Amelia and Crix fell into a routine of mutual tutoring. In exchange for help with her more challenging subjects, Amelia regaled Crix with tales of human history, art and culture. The Arthrosian was particularly enthralled by the concept of music. You mean to tell me, Crix buzzed excitedly, that humans can produce harmonious vibrations from their vocal cords, and you use external objects to create even more complex soundscapes? Amelia nodded, putting up a holographic display of various musical instruments. Music is a huge part of human culture. It's how we express emotions, tell stories, and connect with each other. Crix's exoskeleton shimmered with excitement. Fascinating. In Arthrosian culture, we communicate complex ideas through pheromone combinations and electromagnetic pulses. The concept of music as you describe it is entirely alien to us. Their budding friendship didn't go unnoticed. Other students began to take an interest in the strange human and her Arthrosian companion. Some approached with genuine curiosity, while others remained wary or openly hostile. One afternoon, as Amelia and Crix were studying in the Academy's vast library, a group of Luminian students floated over. Their ethereal bodies pulsed with soft light as they addressed Amelia. "Human," one of them spoke, its voice a melodious whisper, "we have observed your struggles and triumphs. Your species intrigues us. Would you consent to a minor psychic probe? We wish to understand your thought processes better." Amelia hesitated, glancing at Crix for guidance. The Arthrosian's antennae twitched nervously. "Careful, soft skin. Luminian probes can be intense for non-psychic species." Taking a deep breath, Amelia turned back to the Luminians. "I appreciate your interest, but I'm not comfortable with psychic probing. Perhaps we could just talk instead. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about humans." The Luminians pulsed with surprise, their light dimming slightly. "Verbal communication only? How inefficient. But if that is your preference, we shall respect it." What followed was a rapid-fire session of questions that left Amelia's head spinning. The Luminians were particularly fascinated by human emotions, a concept apparently foreign to their species. "You mean to say," one Luminian queried, its form flickering with confusion, "that your biochemical responses can override logical thought processes?" Amelia chuckled. "Sometimes, yes. Emotions can be both our greatest strength and our greatest weakness." As the impromptu cultural exchange continued, more alien students gathered around, drawn by the unusual sight. Amelia found herself at the center of a diverse group, fielding questions about everything from human physiology to Earth's ecosystem. However, the growing attention didn't go unnoticed by everyone. From across the library, Professor Vex observed the scene with narrowed eyes, his scales rippling with disapproval. The next day, Amelia arrived at her xenobiology class to find Professor Vex waiting, his serpentine form coiled menacingly at the front of the room. "Today," he announced, his voice dripping with disdain, "we will be discussing primitive life forms and their place in the galactic ecosystem. Ms. Chen, perhaps you'd like to volunteer as our case study." Amelia felt her cheeks burn as all eyes turned to her. She stood slowly, determined not to show weakness. "I'd be happy to answer any questions about humans, Professor." Vex's eyes glinted dangerously. "Excellent. Let's start with the basics. How long has your species been capable of interstellar travel?" "We haven't achieved interstellar travel on our own yet," Amelia admitted, her voice steady despite her discomfort. Earth was only recently contacted by the Galactic Council. The Quantum Conundrum. The quantum lab hummed with energy as Amelia and Crix pored over the details of the competition. Holographic displays flickered around them, showing complex equations and multidimensional models. The challenge is to develop a theoretical framework for instant interstellar communication, Crix explained, his crystalline form shimmering with excitement. Current methods rely on quantum entanglement, but are limited by the need for paired particles to be physically transported to each location. Amelia's mind raced with possibilities. What if we approach this from a different angle? Instead of trying to improve quantum entanglement, why don't we look at the nature of space-time itself? Their discussion was interrupted by the arrival of other students. Teams were forming, and the atmosphere crackled with competitive energy. Amelia noticed several groups eyeing her and Crix warily. As they delved deeper into their research, Amelia's unique human perspective began to shine. Her ability to think laterally and draw connections between seemingly unrelated concepts proved invaluable. What if we combine principles from Earth's string theory with Arthrosian multidimensional mathematics? Amelia suggested, sketching out a rough diagram. Crix's antennae twitched with interest. Intriguing. That could potentially create a framework for manipulating the fabric of spacetime itself. Days turned into weeks as they worked tirelessly on their theory. Other teams made progress, but Amelia and Crix's unconventional approach was yielding promising results. However, their success didn't go unnoticed. One evening, as Amelia was returning to the lab, she overheard hushed voices. "We can't let that primitive and the bug brain win," a voice hissed. "It would be an embarrassment to the entire academy." Amelia's heart raced as she realized the lengths some might go to ensure her failure. She knew she had to be more careful, but she was determined not to let fear hold her back. As the competition deadline loomed, Amelia and Crix made a breakthrough. Their theory, combining human intuition with Arthrosian precision, offered a novel approach to manipulating subspace fields for instantaneous communication. But with success came danger. The night before the final presentation, Amelia discovered their lab had been broken into, crucial data corrupted. "They're trying to sabotage us," Crix chittered anxiously. Amelia's jaw set with determination. "Then we'll just have to work twice as hard. We've come too far to give up now." Through the night they worked, recreating lost data and refining their theory. As dawn broke, exhausted but triumphant, they prepared to present their findings to the academy. The presentation hall was packed, tension thick in the air. As Amelia took the stage alongside Crix, she felt the weight of not just her own future, but potentially that of human-alien collaboration, resting on her shoulders. Taking a deep breath, she began to speak, ready to show the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of. Revelations and revolutions. The presentation hall fell silent as Amelia and Crix took center stage. Hundreds of alien eyes focused on the unlikely pair, a human and an Arthrosian, standing together before the most brilliant minds in the galaxy. Amelia's heart raced, but her voice was steady as she began. "Esteemed faculty and fellow students, we present to you a new paradigm in interstellar communication." As they outlined their theory, combining Earth's string theory with Arthrosian multidimensional mathematics, a palpable buzz grew in the audience. Holographic displays swirled around them, illustrating complex concepts in vivid detail. By manipulating subspace fields at a quantum level, Crix explained, his crystalline form shimmering with excitement, we can create a network of interconnected folds in spacetime. Amelia continued, this network would allow for instantaneous information transfer across vast distances, without the need for paired entangled particles. As they delved deeper into the technical aspects, Amelia could see a mix of reactions in the audience. Some leaned forward, clearly intrigued, while others whispered furiously to their neighbors. Professor Vex sat in the front row, his scales rippling with an unreadable emotion. When they finished their presentation, There was a moment of stunned silence before the hall erupted into a cacophony of voices. Questions came rapid fire from all directions. How do you account for quantum decoherence? A Luminian student called out. What about the energy requirements for maintaining stable subspace folds? Another voice chimed in. Amelia and Crix fielded the questions with growing confidence, their complementary knowledge allowing them to address concerns from multiple angles. As the cube and a session wound down, Dean Zox Kulian stepped forward, his four eyes blinking in an asynchronous pattern. This is most intriguing. Your theory challenges several long-held assumptions in quantum mechanics. It will require rigorous peer review and experimental verification, but if proven correct, it could revolutionize interstellar communication. A murmur of excitement rippled through the crowd. Amelia felt a surge of pride and relief. They had done it. They had shown that human ingenuity, combined with alien knowledge, could push the boundaries of galactic science. But their triumph was short-lived. Professor Vex slithered to the front, his voice cutting through the excited chatter. Dean Zox Kulian, esteemed colleagues, I must protest. This theory, if we can call it that, is nothing more than speculative nonsense. The professor's scales rippled with disdain as he continued. It relies on unproven human concepts and Arthrosian mysticism. To even consider it for publication would be an affront to the scientific standards of Silura Academy. Vex turned to face Amelia and Crix directly, his eyes narrowing. I move that we disqualify this entry and expel the human from our institution. Clearly, allowing such a primitive species access to our knowledge was a mistake. The hall erupted into chaos. Some voices rose in support of Vex, while others defended Amelia and Crix's work. Amelia felt her heart sink as she watched the academic community fracture before her eyes. But then, an unexpected voice cut through the din. If I may, I believe we are witnessing something truly remarkable here. All eyes turned to see Professor Xylo, a respected Cephalon physicist, float towards the stage. Her tentacles waved gently as she spoke. While unconventional, this theory shows remarkable promise. It combines perspectives in a way we haven't seen before. Isn't that the very essence of scientific progress? More voices joined in support. Luminian students who had initially been skeptical now pulsed with excitement as they discussed the implications of the theory. Even some of Vex's own students seemed swayed by the innovative approach. Amelia felt a tentative hope rising within her. She locked eyes with Crix, seeing her own determination reflected in his compound gaze. They had come too far to back down now. Professor Vex, Amelia said, her voice ringing clear across the hall, I understand your skepticism. Our theory challenges established norms. But isn't that the point of science? To question, to explore, to push boundaries. She took a deep breath before continuing. Humans may be new to the galactic community, but we bring with us a fresh perspective. Combined with the vast knowledge of species like the Arthrosians, who knows what breakthroughs we might achieve. The hall fell silent as her words sank in. Even Vex seemed taken aback by her boldness. Dean Zox Kulian's voice cut through the tension. I believe we have much to consider. This theory, controversial as it may be, deserves thorough examination. I propose we convene a special academic hearing to evaluate its merits and discuss the broader implications of interspecies collaboration in our institution. As murmurs of agreement spread through the crowd, Amelia realized that this was more than just a competition now. It had become a turning point, not just for her, but potentially for the future of galactic academia. Crix's crystalline form shimmered as he turned to Amelia. Well, soft skin, it seems we've stirred up quite the nebula. Are you ready for what comes next? Amelia nodded, a determined smile spreading across her face. Ready as I'll ever be. Whatever happens, we're in this together. As the crowd began to disperse, discussing the implications of what they had witnessed, Amelia knew that the real challenge was just beginning. The academic hearing would determine not just the validity of their theory, but the place of humanity in the broader galactic scientific community. With her head held high, Amelia prepared herself for the battle ahead. She had come to Zillera Academy to learn, but now she found herself in a position to teach, to show the galaxy the true potential of human ingenuity and the power of diverse collaboration. The stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter that night, as if in anticipation of the new era that was dawning in the halls of Zillera Academy. A new era of galactic academia. The day of the academic hearing arrived, bringing with it a tension that seemed to permeate every corner of Zillera Academy. The grand auditorium, usually reserved for the most prestigious galactic lectures, was packed to capacity. Representatives from various alien species filled the tiered seating, their diverse forms creating a living tapestry of galactic life. Amelia stood at the center of it all, her heart pounding but her resolve unwavering. Crix stood beside her, his crystalline form refracting the light in a dazzling display of solidarity. Before them sat the panel of judges, esteemed academics from across the galaxy, led by Dean Zox Kubian himself. This hearing, the Dean's melodious voice rang out, is to evaluate the merits of the theory presented by Amelia Chen of Earth and Crix of Arthrosia, and to discuss its implications for our academic community. As the proceedings began, Amelia and Crix presented their theory once more, this time delving even deeper into its intricacies. They fielded questions from the panel, their responses showcasing not just the strength of their research, but the power of their collaboration. Professor Vex, seated at the opposition table, interjected frequently, his scales rippling with barely contained agitation. This theory flies in the face of established galactic science, he argued. We cannot upend centuries of progress based on the fanciful notions of a primitive species and a fringe Arthrosian. The debate raged on, with arguments and counter-arguments flying back and forth. Amelia found herself drawing on every ounce of knowledge and determination she possessed. She explained complex human concepts, drawing parallels to alien theories, and showcasing how the integration of diverse perspectives could lead to groundbreaking discoveries. As the hearing stretched into its fifth hour, an unexpected ally emerged. Professor Xylo, the Cephalon physicist who had spoken up earlier, floated forward. Her tentacles waved in an intricate pattern as she addressed the panel. Colleagues, she began, her voice resonating with wisdom, I have spent the past few days rigorously examining this theory. While it challenges our understanding, I believe it holds tremendous potential. More importantly, it demonstrates the value of diverse collaboration in pushing the boundaries of science. A murmur rippled through the audience. Xylo's endorsement carried significant weight in the academic community. Sensing the shifting tide, Amelia stepped forward for her final appeal. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of not just her own future, but that of human-alien collaboration resting on her shoulders. Esteemed panel, fellow students, and academics, she began, her voice clear and strong. I stand before you not just as a human, but as a representative of the endless possibilities that arise when we embrace diversity in thought and experience. She gestured to the crowd, her eyes meeting those of various alien species. Look around you. Each species here brings a unique perspective, shaped by their evolutionary history and the challenges of their homeworlds. By combining these perspectives, we can achieve breakthroughs that none of us could reach alone. Amelia's voice grew passionate as she continued, Our theory is just one example of what's possible when we open our minds to new ideas. Yes, it challenges established norms, but isn't that the very essence of scientific progress? To question, to explore, to push beyond what we think we know. She turned to face Professor Vex directly. I understand your skepticism, Professor. Change can be unsettling, but I ask you to consider this. Every great scientific revolution throughout history began with an idea that seemed impossible at first. As Amelia's words echoed through the hall, a hush fell over the audience. Even Vex seemed taken aback by the conviction in her voice. By accepting humans and other newly discovered species into Zillera Academy, Amelia concluded, you've already taken the first step towards a more inclusive future of galactic academia. I urge you to take the next step. Embrace the potential of true interspecies collaboration. Together, we can unlock mysteries of the universe that we've yet to even imagine. As Amelia finished speaking, the auditorium erupted into a cacophony of voices. Aliens of all species turned to their neighbors, discussing and debating with newfound excitement. The panel of judges huddled together, their voices low but animated. After what felt like an eternity, Dean Zox Kulian raised all four of his hands for silence. The room fell quiet, anticipation thick in the air. After careful consideration, the dean announced, his multifaceted eyes sweeping across the room, "The panel has reached a decision. We find the theory presented by Amelia Chen and Crix to be worthy of further study and development. Furthermore, we recognize the significant potential in fostering greater interspecies collaboration in our academic pursuits." A cheer went up from many in the audience. Amelia felt a wave of relief and joy wash over her. Crix's crystalline form shimmered with what she had come to recognize as happiness. The dean continued, "In light of this, Zillura Academy will be establishing a new department dedicated to interspecies collaborative studies. Ms. Chen and Crix will be offered positions as junior researchers to continue development of their theory under the guidance of Professor Xylo." As the implications of this announcement sank in, Amelia realized that they had achieved something far greater than winning a competition. They had opened the door to a new era of galactic academia. In the days that followed, news of the hearing and its outcomes spread across the galaxy. Messages of support and curiosity poured in from countless worlds, including Earth. Humanity's place in the galactic scientific community was no longer a question, it was a reality. Amelia stood at the viewport of her new lab, gazing out at the stars. Crix worked at a nearby console, his crystalline limbs manipulating complex holographic models. Professor Xylo floated nearby, her tentacles weaving intricate patterns as she discussed a new angle of their research. As Amelia turned back to her work, she couldn't help but smile. This was just the beginning. With every challenge overcome, every theory explored, they were building bridges between species and expanding the boundaries of knowledge. The universe, vast and mysterious, stretched out before them, a frontier of endless possibilities, waiting to be explored by minds united in the pursuit of understanding. And Amelia Chen, once an outsider, now stood at the forefront of this new age of discovery, ready to show the galaxy just how far humanity could go.